Unlisted videos. Insider drops. The only way in is through my private SMS list.
A 1952 CIA document just resurfaced with one explosive line buried in a photo inventory. Temple Under Sphinx. No theories, no speculation, just a dry government catalog entry from photos taken in Egypt in 1950. The single phrase has reignited decades of whispers about the Hall of Records. Edgar Cayce predicted it. Ancient historians described it. And now the establishment's own files are forcing the question back into the open. Now, if these chambers hold what the legends claim, every textbook on human origins gets rewritten. Regular Americans watching their kids learn the same official narrative deserve to know whether advanced knowledge was hidden from us for centuries. Communities built on the idea that our past is settled suddenly face the possibility that far older civilizations left technology and records right under our feet. Now, politically, it strips power from gatekeepers who decide what counts as history and what gets buried. The same institutions that dismiss these stories for generations now face their own paper trail confirming the anomalies are real. This is not fringe speculation anymore. It's a direct challenge to the controlled version of the past that has helped shape policy, education, and public trust for far too long. While the world waits on official answers about what sits beneath Giza, the same uncertainty is hitting the markets hard. And here's what your financial advisor will not tell you. By the time the news tells you to buy gold, it's too late. You're waiting. I get it. Everybody's waiting to see if the ceasefire holds, waiting to see if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, waiting to see what happens next. But gold's not waiting for you. It moves on fear and on instability and on the unknown. And it moves faster than you can react. So while you're waiting for certainty, the rest of the world is planning for what comes next. You can't afford to stay on the sidelines when hidden chambers and declassified files remind us how little we actually control. Visit nextnewsgold.com or call the number on the screen to get noble gold investments working for you today. Now back to the mystery that proves the establishment has never been fully honest about our past. See, the same week the CIA files reappeared, researchers sat down with Joe Rogan and laid out how Arab historians from year 600 described tunnels running beneath the Sphinx. Seismic scans in the 90s already flagged cavities. Egyptian authorities blocked deeper digs. The pattern of denial now collides with the 1950 government record. This is the story that's making all the news today in the Daily Mail. Hall of Records theory erupts. They published the 1950 CIA files and Merlin Capital highlighting the exact find, a temple buried under the Sphinx. This is the actual document that has been circulating now. Recent declassified 1950 CIA document. Now I'm going to zoom in for you here. This is where it says Temple Under Sphinx. This is a photographic catalog of images that were captured in 1950. So this is the inventory list of the images that were captured. Ruins near Sphinx and Temple Under Sphinx. That's what's drawing all the attention right now. So the declassified documents, they confirm the temple discovery. And now we have this from Mark Christopher Lee, tying it directly to Edgar Cayce's Hall of Records predictions. Hall of Records theories just exploded. CIA document resurfaces, listing a temple under the Sphinx straight out of the 1950s FOIA files. Edgar Cayce called it decades ago an underground library of lost knowledge with Atlantis vibes buried beneath Giza. Coincidence, or is the Sphinx still guarding secrets the world isn't ready for? And this is the supposed sketching of the Mandane Project, mandaneproject.com. Half-section elevation of Sphinx subterranean temple, causeway, and passages. I'm going to bring it up full screen for you so you can see it better. Entrance hall or tunnel, circular temple, tunnel or box we tried to enter, probably ventilation shaft. So this looks like it's an early sketch of some activity that was there on site during an archaeological dig. And here we have this. The Hall of Records is a purported ancient library that is claimed to exist underground near the Great Sphinx of Giza in Egypt. Check this out.
I don't want you to know this, Beneath the paws of the Sphinx, there are hidden chambers holding the key to unlocking the true history of human civilization. The chambers are the Hall of Records, a vast library containing scrolls and artifacts documenting the lost knowledge of ancient civilizations, including Atlantis. This hall is also said to be filled with advanced technologies and wisdom passed down from a time when humans and gods walked the earth. But here's where it gets crazier. In the 1990s, ground-penetrating radar detected anomalies beneath the Sphinx, suggesting presence of voids and cavities. These findings were further supported by seismic studies indicating there are hidden chambers. Despite this, Egyptian authorities have been reluctant to allow further excavation, fueling speculation about what they might be hiding. Revealing the contents of these chambers would rewrite the history of humanity. It would provide evidence of extremely advanced ancient civilizations and technologies. Such evidence would challenge the conventional narrative of human development. What else do you think these chambers hold?
I love this stuff. It makes you think, right? The radar anomalies and blocked excavations are on record. And now we have this. This researcher tells Joe Rogan, historians and psychics found a hall of records from ancient Atlantis beneath the Sphinx. New evidence revealed they could be right. Ben Van Kerkwick with Joe Rogan.
I think there are elements of that are that are obvious. I mean, not obvious, but people can explore them, and it starts to knock down the House of Cards. That's how people end up with this. Just looking at the contradictions in ancient Egypt, but there are other examples of what I would say, like these things like the Matterhorn expedition that have been discovered but then sort of covered up and kept secret.
Right.
And a lot of them have to do with, you have the same tie-in with these ancient stories and accounts from history, not just from the Roman and Greek historians, but also the Arab historians, like Al-Masudi, for example, the Herodotus of the Arabs, they called him. You know, he talked about tales of these tunnels and chambers beneath the Sphinx, that there were rooms beneath the Sphinx that then led out to like 3 different tunnels. You have a number of other Arab historians from as far back as like 600 AD that have stories of getting into the pyramids and then getting lost in tunnels and chambers beneath them.
Jeez.
And, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these. You hear these stories of like the Hall of Records, right? The people like Edgar Cayce, the American psychic in the 1940s, who Edgar. Have you heard of Edgar Cayce?
Yes.
You must have. Yeah, he would fall into these trance-like states, and he'd have these visions. He's called like the sleeping prophet, they would call him, or he's like one of the Americans' psychic. And it wasn't just about things around Egypt. He did prophesize and talk about locations for 3 halls of records, which were these Atlantean caches of information, like a pre-Diluvian civilization. He did call it Atlantis. But he would also have these predictions about the stock market, and a lot of people made a lot of money based on his predictions, and that led to the...
He was really good at it?
Yeah. So apparently, whether it was luck, I don't know. I mean,
because that's always the question when it comes to like psychics. If you were a real psychic, why wouldn't you make all the money in the world from the stock market?
It did happen. There was a lot of people made a lot of money, and he did evidently too as well. And so that led to the formation of something called the Edgar Cayce Foundation, or the ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment is the name of them. They're still going strong today. And they've been looking to try and find his halls of records, and they've been trying to verify the Cayce's predictions. One in particular that they have been chasing down is the famous Hall of Records, which he said was beneath the paws of the Sphinx. So there's not, the stories of this Hall of Records and these rooms beneath the Sphinx go back thousands of years. Like, I mean, just not just the Arabs, but also Herodotus and these other guys also talked about that whole area, the Sphinx and everything else being vastly more ancient even than the pyramids. But there was some work done that happened in recent times, like in the 1990s. Well, there's been a search going on since the early 70s that the ARE has been involved in. And a lot of this is quite secretive. A lot of this has never really come to light. But there's some, until very recently, in fact, there's been some footage that came up that showed that there are, in fact, tunnels beneath the Sphinx that may well have been explored. We're not quite sure. But it's an interesting story.
Interesting story making headlines again today. Historians and psychics have tracked the Hall of Records for decades, but now we have some details on its role as an advanced data hub connecting to larger structures. More information coming out about the structure found under the Great Pyramid, previously revealed by the Pleiadians to be like a data center that connects Earth to Galactic Federation motherships. Just in time for the UFO disclosure, right?
This is the best technology that can scan inside of the Great Pyramid that are undiscovered features.
Do any of these structures that they're interpreting fly in the face of what conventional archaeology would think exists inside the pyramids?
All of it.
All of it.
All of it.
There is also electricity inside this.
Fossilized lightning through these iron veins. What is creating the lack of signature here?
There is something. I can't disclose it now.
Interesting.
Each pyramid is producing a specific chemical, and the sequence of these chemicals transforms one product into the next product into the next product. Industrial scale chemical manufacturing. There are absolutely things below the Giza plateau that we do not understand.
If we do have tubular structures, pillars, with coils wrapping around them that go a kilometer deep with a foundation underneath them, that's insane. That's huge.
Correct, yeah, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Because there's no physical way that these could possibly have been built. Period.
Then I'm going with aliens. like how do we explain that?
Right in time for UFO disclosure, right? The Pleiadian disclosure matches Edgar Cayce's prediction. Cayce said a hidden repository of knowledge would be found near the Great Pyramid at a moment in history when humanity was ready. So this is all breaking now, making headlines because of this document here. It has now surfaced with Temple Under the Sphinx highlighted for the world to see. So this is not about proving Atlantis, it's about proving the deep state and its academic partners have sat on evidence of something far older and more advanced than the official story allows. When a CIA photo log casually references a temple under the Sphinx, while ground scans show voids and historians describe hidden libraries, the question stops being whether something is down there. It becomes why they kept it hidden from the American people and the rest of the world for 70 years. So the mystery under the Sphinx just got a government receipt. That receipt tells us the questions about our real history were never fringe. They were simply inconvenient. So share this report, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe so you never miss the next piece the gatekeepers try to bury. My question for you is, do you believe these chambers contain lost technology or just more ancient myths? And if you want to get the news when it matters most, when YouTube fails, you text raw feed to 844-840-4963. That's the number on the screen to get direct updates straight to your phone and skip the algorithm that tries to hide this kind of story. Check out the Next News merch shelf below this video for gear that shows you are not waiting for permission to ask the real questions. The truth belongs to the people who refuse to look away.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.